السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. لما بنتكلم عن الشركات العالمية عادة بنتكلم بالتحفظ شوية، لكن في خلال ال4 سنين اللي فاتوا اسم شركة سيمنز ارتبط بأمور بالغة الأهمية بالنسبة لمصر، وعلى رأسها موضوع الكهرباء. احنا عارفين ان الرئيس عبد الفتاح السيسي اهتم بملف الكهرباء في مصر، وخصوصا الانقطاعات الشديدة اللي كنا بنواجهها هنا في مصر في الكهرباء، اللي كانت بتستمر في بعض الأحيان يوم ويوم ونص ويومين. لكن الرئيس حط في اعتباره ان لابد من حل مشكلة الكهرباء في أسرع فرصة، وبالفعل ده تم، لدرجة ان الناس نسيت تماما الدنيا كانت عاملة ازاي وقت الانقطاعات المريعة والمريبة اللي كانت موجودة في الفترة السابقة. إذن احنا قدام نوع من انواع التعاون اللي حصل، تعاون استراتيجي بين مصر وألمانيا، وخاصة شركة سيمنز الألمانية اللي تولت بناء مجموعة من المحطات الكهرباء اللي بتشتغل بالوقود عشان تقدر تنتج كم كبير. سمعنا الرئيس بيتكلم أكتر من مرة عن الحوار اللي دار بينه وبين رئيس الشركة، سواء على النواحي المالية أو على الوقت المخصص لده. فرصة موجودة قدامنا النهاردة إننا نلتقي بهذا الشخص بنفسه، وهو رئيس مجلس الإدارة والرئيس التنفيذي لشركة سيمنز، هو السيد جو كايسر، بمناسبة وجوده هنا لمصر. وهو في وجوده النهاردة في أكتر من خبر، مش موضوعات تتعلق بالكهرباء بس، لا، يمكن الكهرباء يكون موضوع مش واخد الأهمية القصوى قد ما هي موضوعات تتعلق بالشباب وتتعلق بالتدريب وتتعلق بالجامعات. فأنا أعتقد أن لقائنا معاه النهاردة هيكون له ميزة نسبية نحاول نتابعها. وبرحب بالسيد جو كايسر، الرئيس التنفيذي ورئيس مجلس إدارة شركة سيمنز العالمية. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
In my introduction, I was speaking about the long history of 4 years at least between yourself, Siemens, Germany, and Egypt with President al-Sisi. We'll come back to that, but today you had a meeting with the President and the Prime Minister. Could you brief me on the outcome of the meeting?
Well, actually, it has been a very fruitful meeting among friends who I believe appreciate each other for the work which has been done. And I just have to say that both the Prime Minister and of course the President have been very clear about the fact that the Egyptian people need to have more infrastructure, better energy, and subsequently also a better future.
And based on the history of negotiations at a certain stage, cooperation at another stage, how do you see the progress is happening between Siemens and Egypt?
Well, first of all, we are very grateful that we have been given the opportunity to help the Egyptian people to have a more reliable, a more affordable, and a very sustainable energy system. We are in the final stages of completing the 3 mega projects in Beni Suef, Burulus, and New Capital. The 3 mega power plants are 97% ready, so we basically will have about 15,000 megawatt of electrical power available for the country and its people by summer, and that's been a really remarkable result. If I look back from the very beginning, when we had the first negotiations in Sharm el-Sheikh with the President and his team, to where we are today, is in many aspects has been a world record-breaking result. It was about the fact that the 3 biggest combined cycle gas power plants ever built are now in Egypt in record time, at record efficiency, and at a record level of partnership. I would never have been guessing how close a partnership can be if everyone works together, and how big the outcome at the end to the benefit of the Egyptian people has actually been. So I really have to say I'm very encouraged, I'm very grateful, and also very proud that we have been able to achieve what we have been achieving in those last 3 to 4 years.
Some of the people who speak about the good relations yourself and His Excellency the President have established, it has been the bridge towards stronger and better relations with Germany, especially during hard times after our revolution in 2013. So you've contributed personally to bring the mutual understanding between the two states. How did this work out?
Well, I believe that there has been a remarkable process and progress being made. I do remember the time when the President of Egypt has been visiting Berlin and the Chancellor. It has been a very important visit for everyone, for Egypt, for Germany, and also the relation which has been built over time. And I think it has become very, very clear during those times that it is important to show leadership in a country of almost 100 million people, so that there's a clear direction on how this wonderful country and its people can actually be moved and developed where they need to be. I mean, I said this to the President today. You know, when I look into the history books of mankind, you know, there has been a lot of history being written about Egypt, on the culture, thousands of years ago, in a time where Europe didn't even exist. And now the President and his team, the government, are trying to rebuild this country to more prosperity, to employment, to have young people come from the street and be educated, get a good education system, and also, of course, then get good jobs, because that's what an economy needs. And I think in the first stage today, we've been able to build a very, very powerful electrification system. And also, His Excellency, the Energy Minister, Dr. Sheka, has been very instrumental to help us build it. Now, I believe the next level of an economy to be built and developed is the infrastructure. So it's moving people and goods. So it's about mobility infrastructure, about trains, and modern traffic systems. And I think that's the next level. We need to go look together on how we can build that for the Egyptian people.
That's a very important point. At the start of our conversation, you said that the President was expressing the dire need of Egyptians for an infrastructure. I believe this has started and is on track working. But now when you're talking about traffic systems, or when you're talking about technology, Siemens is not a company that builds power plants and that's it. Siemens has works in many fields and many domains. So this, let's not say transfer of technology, but transfer of technology may be coming through the training that we were talking about in a minute. But at this current stage, we're talking about the other technologies that Siemens possesses and can work in Egypt with.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the technology and the competency and the 170 years experience of Siemens, that's nothing what we want to keep as a secret. This should actually be applied to the greater benefit of our customers and our partners. And at the end of the day, you know, this is not a business to business or business to consumer. I always call it Siemens does business to society. Mm-hmm. And that's actually the purpose this company has. It's, you know, it helps create a better world in energy generation, in energy management, in building technologies, in mobility, in automating industrial systems, and last but not least, of course, in healthcare. I mean, healthcare, you know, for 100 million people is a very important topic. Sure. And everyone deserves to have a good healthcare system. Doesn't need to be, you know, highly sophisticated, but everyone has a right to, you know, to have a healthcare system and in a decent medical care. So we couldn't actually do really a lot to society. And sometimes I'm being asked, what is Siemens all about? Are you this B2B company or this infrastructure company? And I said, no, we are a company who has 386,000 people, and that company helps to defeat cancer. So it's a massive purpose of this company, and I want this also to be developed in Egypt. As I said, 100 million people, very young people, who really want to learn something. We have a program together with the German government. Also, as a result, when President al-Sisi was meeting the Chancellor and some ministers in Germany, we have a program together, Germany and Siemens, together with Egypt, where we are going to train about 5,000 young people through the very well regarded German dual apprenticeship system. We've been building it up.
Apprenticeship.
So we are building it up now as we speak, up to about 5,000. Later today we are going to sign an agreement for a $120 million software grant, so that on the university level, young engineers can actually taste and feel and understand and experience what the Internet of Things is all about.
So the grant of $120 million is in the form of a software, that is the value of the software, or is it the software and the services and the training next to it?
It's all together. It's a software grant, so we are giving software to 3 universities, the biggest and strongest universities in the country. So that enables the students to work with product lifecycle management software, and so they can actually get trained on what is being used in modern industrial systems.
So these softwares are dedicated to students of the faculties of engineering in Cairo University, Al-Ain Shams and Alexandria.
It's dedicated to the 3 universities. They can also apply it and make good business cases out of it and then bring it to other institutions.
That's the important question. Could it be spread out to other
Absolutely,
universities?
it can be spread out. People can take advantage of it and make a meaningful contribution.
So are these Siemens developed softwares, or these are softwares in general and Siemens is just contributing?
No. That's a real Siemens software. This is the simulation software of the world's leading Internet of Things company. Mm-hmm. So no one else has that, and this is why
not even Cisco.
Not even Cisco. Not even all those big software companies who continue to talk about Internet of Things. There is one real company which has it: the hardware system, the automation system, and the digital enterprise.
And how does this serve the society? I mean, when you're talking about such kind of software together with its hardware, when in application, where does it apply within a society?
The good thing is you can apply those simulation software almost in every area of human life. Just think about, because we mentioned healthcare, right, which is an important thing. So with that software, you can basically help reading the medical images. 10 times more reliable as any doctor can ever read a healthcare image. With that software, you can simulate movements of trains, so you can actually have trains move much more efficient. So you save you save millions and billions on for cost for acquiring new trains, mm-hmm. because by optimizing the traffic system, you need lesser trains with the same capacity. So that's how you can basically do it, or you can develop manufacturing systems before a manufacturing plant has even been built, by simulating the production flow, by simulating the products as well as the services. So it gets the cost down, so it makes goods and services for people more affordable. That's the use and the benefit for society.
We're talking today digitalization and transformation. Most governments are talking about government transformation. That's everywhere, from the most advanced to the poorest country anywhere in the world. They're looking for government transportation. How does Siemens support government transformation in the different parts of the world?
Well, it's an interesting question. I agree with you. There is a lot of talk about transformation in government, but most of the transformation actually happens through elections. So therefore, I'm not 100% sure what the government really wants to transform in the government. I believe that the political leaders, the government, have a responsibility to help transform its people, mm-hmm. and make it, a country and a place for a better life, mm-hmm. for a better future. So I believe, I always say, in our company, I always say, management works for its people, and not the people work for management. And I believe it's the same in countries and economies. The government works for its people, and not the other way around. I think it's very important, and that's why I'm so, I have to say, respectful about President al-Sisi, because he is a true leader and believer that his only mission and the only destiny he has is to make Egypt a better place to live for its people. And that's a powerful way of credibility also to lead your country. And you know, I have to say, if he continues with that power and that mission, this is soon going to be another place again, as it used to be 3,000 years ago, where the whole world was actually, you know, looking to Egypt and other countries in the Near and Middle East.
Perfect. I'll go back to the grants. There is the grant that is dedicated to universities, but there is another agreement that I believe Siemens is having with the German government to offer 22 million euros for vocational training.
Yes.
What is the difference between the two?
Well, what we do together with the German government is that we install so-called vocational training. So that's dual apprenticeship. So young people learn in school for certain technical skills, and then we have them also apply that skills in manufacturing. So it's a dual apprenticeship. So they learn about how to apply for digital manufacturing, how to learn man-machine interfaces and things like that. So that's what we do, basic training, basic education. That's what Siemens does together with the German government, by basically exporting the German dual system to Egypt. So that's what we do together with the German Minister of Education. So that's this one. This is more the basic middle education part. So what we do with the universities is this is for engineers. This is for engineers learning what the fourth industrial revolution is all about. And the single most important topic in the fourth industrial revolution, or people call it sometimes the Internet of Things, is about putting the physical world of manufacturing together with the virtual world of simulating products and processes for the design. So the development efficiency becomes much higher because we can simulate hardware services before they have even been done. So this is about university, 120 million university students, about engineers, thinkers, and then the 22 million plus what Siemens contributes is something what we do for the basic education and have people being well trained for industrial applications.
The term apprenticeship is one of my most favorite terms, because we've seen it in the past, we've seen it in the 19th century and the early 20th century, both in Europe and in Egypt, and we've seen how many young people managed to come up to be real, clever, capable people. But the culture has changed. Things in the world have changed in this apprenticeship. So it must have taken a new dimension or a new meaning. How does it differ?
It has actually taken a new content. The concept itself that you would go to school and work in companies, that together, this dual apprenticeship, this has remained, it's still the same, but the content, of course, got modernized to the new automation and digital environment in manufacturing and in hardware systems. I mean, I still recall the time when there was a so-called Kohl Mubarak plan, remember? And that Kohl Mubarak plan had actually a similar meaning.
We used to call it Mubarak Kohl, so.
Oh, Mubarak, yeah, well, you should. I was just trying to be.
It depends on which country.
I was just trying to be accurate, because K comes typically before the M in the alphabet, but you're absolutely right. I got the Mubarak Kohl plan, and that's been the beginning, and this is actually what we now take to the next level. That's in essence what it is.
Right. Okay, so back again to talk about the general kind of cooperation that we've heard the president speak, sometimes clearly, sometimes he hints to your name, and establishing all those bridges together with competition that's coming from many countries from different parts of the world, that sometimes it is economic and sometimes it is political. How do you, as a businessman, basically look at these political pressures sometimes, not only in Egypt, I'm talking about in different parts of the world, because mega projects are much related to politics as well? How do you do it?
Well, I think the most important thing is to understand the benefits for the people. So how much benefit can you bring to the people? That's the dominating force, and the politicians and the governments and presidents and company leaders, they're only there for a certain period of time. And in 10, 15, 20 years from now, people will not be remembered how often they got re-elected. People will be remembered what they did for their country and what they did for their company. And that's, I think, is the notion and the value one need to go think about what you can contribute to society. It's not always easy. Sometimes, one gets criticized a lot. The government from the opposition, who does never know anything, who always knows everything better but never really needs to get anything done. Company leaders from media and others, because they talk to certain people in a certain way and others feel left out. So it's not that easy, but if you really always look at what can you do to society, how can you make this planet a better world, how can you be fair but clear, then I think this is at least halfway through the challenges already.
So that leads me to my coming question about being interested in the Suez Canal Economic Zone and establishing there a Siemens Center for power services.
Right.
Is this a political decision or is it an economic decision?
No, it's an economic decision. I mean, this is an economic zone which I believe is very attractive, and that's why we believe this is a good place to go. We also have acquired a good piece of land in the area for creating and building a wind power factory. There's still an outstanding agreement about building and helping this country also build renewable energy. There's very good wind conditions in Egypt, especially in the Suez Canal zone. And so we have started with a 180 megawatt project. There's another one, 650 megawatt, is on its way, together with a French company called Engie, who will be the operator on that one. And so we'll see when that materializes. And we are actually ready to build a manufacturing which can employ as much as 1,000 jobs, directly and indirectly. And that's also a good thing to bring jobs, and as such again help society by already also acquiring commercial interest.
Excellent. And do you think we still do need to build more power plants? People are asking, are we that hungry for power? There are the three stations, and then we have the nuclear power plants. Do we still need to go into more energy projects?
Well, look, this is a decision also which needs to be made by the government, looking at its own development plan for the country. But there is one other thing which should not be underestimated, and this is about exporting energy to other countries. I mean, Egypt has been very good due to its attractiveness and history in tourism. And there are a few other industries which, help the country make its living. But why not becoming the center of energy export in the Middle East? I mean, Saudi needs a lot of power. Iraq is down on its knees. One could make an interconnector between Egypt, Saudi Arabia, all the way down to the UAE to exchange power so that everyone has power at the right time with the right efficiency. So there is a lot one can do also to export power.
But why is renewable energy still so expensive?
I wouldn't honestly call it that expensive. I mean, if you look at the current wind contracts, it's about 3.5, 3.6 US cent per kilowatt hour. That's not that expensive anymore. It used to be expensive and there was a lot of subsidy and in the beginning of technology. But today we are able to build wind power at 3.5 to 4 US cents per kilowatt hour.
And that compared to conventional?
That is, conventional is about 3, 2.8, 3.2. I mean, the power, the mega projects are more 2.8, thanks to the negotiation power of your president. But it's doable. So we can today, with good wind conditions, with decent conditions for the sun, we can actually already achieve sort of 3.54 cents per kilowatt hour on renewable. And don't forget, renewable energy, the fuel for renewable energy power is free.
It's free.
The fuel is the sun, the fuel is the wind. So what one can do, thinking about long-term development, what one can do is, you know, if the sun produces power, or the wind helps produce power which is not being needed, we could convert it into hydrogen. Hydrogen can be blended to make ammoniac. Ammoniac is a very, very important ingredient for fertilizing, which obviously 100 million people need a lot. So there is a lot of cool things one can do together through innovation and dedication and leadership in a country.
And do you believe that it's a good option for developing nations to employ renewable energy, or it's a luxury a country like Germany can afford, but renewable energy for developing countries is out of place?
Well, Germany learned it the hard way. What we call energy transition. We paid a lot of money for making a lot of experience. The good thing is we are experienced now. We know what is good and what is not so good, and what is expensive and what's not expensive. I personally do believe no country should do any energy policy just because it's ecologically good. It should also be economically feasible, because otherwise we waste a lot of taxpayers' money for something which can be done cheaper in a better way.
Mr. Joe Kaisar, though it's the first time I meet you, I feel like I've met you a dozen times before, from the way the president spoke about you, from the way everybody speaks about you. So as much as you offered the appreciation to the Egyptian people, I want to tell you that it is mutual. Egyptians do appreciate you and appreciate the effort exerted by Siemens in the past 4 years. So thank you very much, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
سيد جو كايسر، الرئيس التنفيذي ورئيس مجلس إدارة شركة سيمنز العالمية. زي ما بنقول الشركة في ال4 سنين اللي فاتوا كان تاريخها مع مصر تاريخ مشرف جدا، فبالتالي احنا في مصر بنبحث دايما عن الشراكات، ما بنخجلش اننا نطلع في التلفزيون ونقول اسماء الشركات طالما هذه الشركات دخلت بالفعل معانا في شراكات، وشراكات تأتي بالنفع على الشعب المصري. نروح لفاصل ثم نستكمل حواراتنا.